Hello and welcome to the second video in my series of previewing the 2016 Sprint Cup season. I am the Sports Guru 716 and I hope you enjoy today's episode. Now in this episode I preview three separate teams, all single car teams. And first we have Regan Smith of the Tommy Baldwin Racing number 7. It was driven by Michael Annett last season. Regan Smith comes in with a lot of experience in both the Cup and Xfinity Series. As you may recall, he did win a race for Furniture Row in their first win at Darlington. I remember that. I remember when he stayed out and somehow won the race, and that was in 2012. In the last couple of years, he's been driving for Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series, where he has 6 wins and almost won a championship 2 years ago. He's been very competitive at the Xfinity level and good equipment, and as you just heard, he has won a race in the Cup Series, so he can get it done if he has the equipment. Now, in this car, he probably doesn't. He stands a chance in the restrictor plate races and maybe can finish in the mid-20s in most races because of his ability, his talent, and maybe the equipment being semi-decent now that they're down to one car. Regan has been driving in the Cup Series the last couple of years as a fill-in driver for guys like Kyle Larson, Tony Stewart, and people like that. Tony Stewart's probably kind of upset that he's got a full-time ride now that Tony Stewart is out for at least the Daytona 500, and I imagine more. So I expect this team to get a couple, maybe mid-20 finishes, but nothing outstanding. Next, we have Casey Mears at the bottom of this slide here, driving the Germain Racing Geico number 13, which has been driving for quite a few years now. They have a couple good races every year where you can see them in the mid-teens, usually the short tracks. I think Richmond's a good track for this team. As you can see, he has a lot of Cup experience. He drove for Hendrick for a long time, drove for Red Bull Racing, little Xfinity experience and no truck experience. Now, as you can see, he did finish 14th in points about 10 years ago, so his prime is far beyond, it's a long time ago it was his prime, so you can expect a couple teams finishes out of him. He gets that Geico sponsorship and he just keeps on going. The Geico keeps re-upping with this team. They must have a good deal going because they don't really show up too often up in the front, or even for that matter show up on TV to get the opportunity for Geico to be shown on air. So used to have a good trucks team, Germain Racing, but it looks like they're kind of just focusing on this Cup team and hoping it can do semi-decent. With the third team in this episode, I have the Circle Sports, formerly known as Levain Family Racing, also number 95, with Michael McDowell, who continues to drive the 95 as he's done for the last few years with the K-Love sponsorship. They struggle to make races, kind of like the BK Racing and other things like that. However, they do have a couple really good races in them where they do finish in the teens once in a while. In Circle Sports also did very well in the 33 last year with Brian Scott, Ty Dillon, people like that. Brian Scott ended up doing well enough in those to later show up in my series preview where he finally got a Cup ride. And I believe Michael McDowell will have some success in this car, especially at road courses where he succeeds at not only the Cup level and limited opportunities, but the Xfinity Series as well, where he would drive the Joe Gibbs vehicles and things like that. And in those Joe Gibbs cars, he would compete and sadly didn't get any wins, but he would compete and do quite well. His limited experience does hinder him a little bit in the Xfinity and Truck Series, but as long as he can get some finishes together, I expect him to not only best his points finish from last year, but maybe be able to compete at a level that will maybe get him in the top 30 and maybe even get himself a couple top 20 finishes, maybe even a top 15 finish at a road course if the equipment is just right. Because there is potential with Michael McDowell. He has always had that ability. It's just a matter of will he get the opportunity necessary to succeed. I'd like to thank you for watching my video, my second video in my series where I preview the 2016 Sprint Cup season. Hopefully you liked it. If you want to comment below, if you have any thoughts on these three teams, comment below. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see future content. I plan on uploading each day for this preview up until I get to either Haas or Hendrick. I really don't remember which one it is. And thank you for watching.